initiative. Vice President Kashim Shettima has encouraged Nigerian youth to be more committed to building the nation. Shettima, represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Economic Matters, Office of the Vice President, Dr. Tokwe Fuswa, was addressing the graduates of the Leadership Enhancement and Development Program, LEAD-P. He said they should see every opportunity such as LEAD-P as a call to serve more effectively, affirming that leadership challenges are changing and becoming more complex in present times. Shettima was optimistic that with rigorous training such as LEAD-P, there is hope that the public and civil service are prime co-workers, game changers and change ambassadors. He further encouraged them to be more committed to building the nation. A total of 130 Nigerian Army generals on Tuesday bowed out of service. The breakdown includes 1 general, 1 lieutenant general, 67 major generals, and 44 brigadier generals at a regimental dinner night organized in honor of newly retired and retiring Nigerian Army senior officers in Abuja. The Minister of Defense, Abubakar Badaru, hailed the support of the Nigerian Army towards the growth of democracy in the country. Badaru said this has made the Army a shining example in the West African region and beyond, urging other services in the region to take a cue from the Army. According to a statement on Wednesday by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Oyema Uwachuku, the minister urged the Army to continue to remain loyal to the Constitution and support the development of democracy in Nigeria. The minister noted that the occasion provided the Nigerian Army the opportunity to reflect on its service and profound dedication as demonstrated by the retired and retiring senior officers. The Nigerian Labour Congress expressed concerns over the lingering cash scarcity in the country 4 days to the Christmas Day celebration. The Congress said in a statement by its national president, Joe Ajaero, that the situation had serious implications for citizens, insisting that urgent steps must be taken to address it. Bank customers have been groaning over their inability to access cash to meet daily needs, despite assurances from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The banks have continued to ration cash over the counter, while many ATMs are not dispensing cash. However, NLC in a statement warned the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria that a mass public protest was imminent if nothing was done to address the Naira shortage. Moving on, the head of Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemi Isan, said the plan for full digitalization of all processes in the ministries, departments, and agencies by 2025 will lead to an automatic cut in the cost of governance. She also said that MDAs haven't been given the opportunity to ensure adequate budgetary allocation in 2024 budget will have no excuse to up their game on digitalization come 2024. This is to meet up with the deadline of 2025 as stipulated in the Federal Civil Service and Strategy and Implementation Plan 2021-2025. She said this at a one-day retreat on digitalization for the head of service and permanent secretaries, expressing dissatisfaction that Nigerians is lagging behind in terms of digitalization as 90% of government in the world have since gone digital and are presently deploying artificial intelligence solutions. Members of Rivers State House of Assembly have withdrawn the impeachment notice that was previously sent to Governor Siminalayi Fubara. The lawmakers officially began their session in the state capital of Port Harcourt on Wednesday. The lawmakers gathered solely to focus on the withdrawal of the impeachment notice against Fubara during their deliberations. This follows a meeting between President Bola Tinubu and the warring party in the Aso Villa in Abuja on Monday, when a truce was mediated. River State elders and leaders, including the former Governor Chief Rufus Adad George and former Deputy Governor Gabriel Toby, have rejected President Bola Tinubu's intervention in the political crisis rocking the state. The elders expressed worry that the intervention may have worsened the crisis in the state. They stated this in a communique read to newsmen after an emergency meeting on Tuesday in Port Harcourt, the state capital. In response to the presidential directive aimed at resolving the political crisis in the state, they said though they had previously called on the president to intervene in the feud between the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and the state governor, Fubara, they are at a loss as to whether his intervention has solved the problem or escalated it. The High Court in Ibadan, Oyo State has sentenced one Olaniyo Gbenga Amos to a total of 75 years in prison for multiple counts of investment fraud. The conviction was pronounced by Justice Bayo Taiwo on Thursday, December 14, 2023, following the 35 count brought against him by the Ibadan Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The charges primarily revolved around obtaining money by false pretenses, conveying Section 1, Subsection 1, Subsection A, and punishable under Section 1, Subsection 3 of the Advanced Fee Fraud and Other Fraud-Related Offences Act 2006. According to FCC's statement via its X handle, the charges against Amos detailed instances of fraudulent schemes involving the misrepresentation of investment opportunities, resulting in substantial financial losses to unsuspecting victims. The defendant had pleaded not guilty to the charges, leading to a comprehensive trial that spanned several sessions. The FCC counsel Sanusi Baladanchi presented 6 witnesses and 8 exhibits during the trial, which conducted on January 24, 2023. In order to Moving on now in the news, the Lagos State Governor had issued a directive to all tankers and trailers to stop the indiscriminate parking along the Sele bus stop inward Tinkan Port axis, instructing them to vacate immediately. The special advisor to the Governor on Transportation, Shola Giwa, disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday. According to the statement, the directive is a decisive move to address the ongoing congestion and alleviate the challenges faced by commuters along the axis. Former Minister of Power and Steel Olu Ogunloye may soon face charges of corruption and forgery as he spends his 5th consecutive day in detention after submitting himself to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Ogunloye surrendered himself to interrogation on 13th December, a day after he was declared wanted by the Commission over corruption allegations regarding a failed multi-billion-dollar Mambila hydropower project. EFCC sources says charges have been drafted and would soon be filed in court and served on the former minister. The sources said he was declared wanted because he jumped the administrative bill granted to him. The Ogun Assembly on Tuesday swore in Olakunle Sobukonla of the All Progressive Congress representing Ikenne constituency as a member of the 10th Assembly. The development followed the annulment of the election of Babajide Owodunni of the People's Democratic Party of the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos had last November nullified the election of Owodunni and declared Sobukonla, who was also a member of the 9th Legislature, elected. Sobukonla took the oath of office of allegiance administered by the Deputy Clerk, Fumilayo Adeyemi, during a plenary held at the Assembly Complex, Okomosun, Abeokuta, shortly after his swearing in. Sobukonla promised to always remain a good representative of his constituents. You're watching AM News live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When AM News returns, Apabio swears in Lalong as senator. The news continues shortly with details of this and more right after this break. Please stay with us. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has administered the oath of office in the immediate past Minister of Labor and Employment, Samuel Lalong, of Plateau State, Lalong of the All Progressive Congress, APC, who took the oath of office on Wednesday at 11:56 a.m. is replacing Senator Napoleon Binkep Bali of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, who was sacked by the appeal court. The immediate past Minister of Labor and Employment, before the swearing in on Wednesday, was at the National Assembly on Tuesday to submit his certificate of return and relevant document to the Clerk of the Senate. Speaking with journalists after the oath of office, the new senator, who assured his people that he would not disappoint them, as he had never done even as member Plateau State House of Assembly and later Speaker of the House, said that he decided to resign his appointment and come to the Senate as his first choice. The remains of the former Chief of Army Staff, late Major General Mohammed Chris Ali, has been laid to rest at the Military Cemetery, Abuja. The deceased was the 15th Chief of Army Staff from the 1993 to 1994 under General Sani Abacha's regime, and was military governor of Plateau State, Nigeria from August 1985 to 1986 during the military regime of General Ibrahim Babangida. Kikelomo Okere tells us more.
It is a moment of sober reflection for the families and friends of late Major General Mohammed Chris Ali. The late general was accorded in full military honor as the hierarchy of the Nigerian military, led by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, paid the last tribute. Speaking after the laying of wreath on his grave and presentation of national flag to the deceased next of kin, the Army Chief and Minister of Defense, who was represented by the Chief of Defense Staff, consoled the family of the deceased. In their remarks, they described the late senior officer as an articulate, dedicated, loyal and highly professional officer in discharge of his duties. They eulogized the ex-Army Chief for his sterling qualities and immeasurable contribution to the Nigerian Army while he was alive, saying the Nigerian Army will reserve a seat for the late general as a sign of respect, with a wreath on it for 3 subsequent events.
The truth is that the late General Chris Ali did not retire until his last breath. General MC Ali exhibited an unrivaled sense of duty and dedication to service. His love and passion for the Nigerian Army was evident in all his doings.
As the Chief of Army Staff, Major General MC Ali retired, obviously achieved significant influence on the professionalism and reposition of the Nigerian Army to be a force to reckon with in both regional and global scenes.
Very humane officer and very patriotic Nigerian. All of us will miss him a lot, and we are going to, as a matter of fact, immortalize him in Kogi State so that it will serve as a good example for other leaders that will come, live and serve and live.
A 21-gun salute was accorded to the deceased before his remains was buried at the National Military Cemetery, as scores of colleagues, including family members, bade tearful farewell.
Present! Reload! Present!
Being a profession with inherent risk, such a befitting burial is required to serve as a resting place for the hero. In attendance to condole with the family were the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, Lieutenant General Azubike Ihejirika, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, the service chiefs, among others. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
May the soul of the faithful departed rest in peace. Thank you, Kike, for that report. And now on our foreign decks, at least 10 people were killed in floods after intense rainfall in southern India. Local media reported Wednesday, weeks after a cyclone triggered intense flooding in the same area. Hundreds are stranded in the state of Tamil Nadu as water submerged roads, with the Air Force dropping 10 tons of emergency supplies to those stranded. Tamil Nadu's Chief Secretary Shivdas Meena said at least 10 people had died and 12,600 people were forced to flee to safer areas. The heavy rains came just 2 weeks after at least 8 people were killed by Cyclone Mishang, which hit Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh states on December 6. While rains were expected in southern India in December, scientists have warned that storms are becoming more powerful as the world gets warmer with climate change. Hospital doctors in England began their longest strike action yet on Wednesday in a move that health bosses fear would pile pressure on services at this busiest time of the year. Junior doctors, those below consultant level, joined picket lines with 700 GMT to the same time on Saturday in a major escalation of their long-running pay dispute. 6 more days of industrial action are planned from January 3rd. The strike comes as one of the busiest time of the year for the state-funded National Health Service as it faces increased pressure from seasonal respiratory illnesses. The strike has drawn criticism from UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and hospital leaders who have described the lengthy workout as their worst fears realized. The British Medical Association announced a strike earlier this month after a breakdown in talks with the government. Survivors of China's deadliest earthquake in the years huddled in Makashis at 8/10 despite freezing temperatures on Wednesday, too scared to return to homes made dangerous by the disaster. State broadcaster CCTV said at least 131 people were killed in northwestern Gansu province and neighboring Qingyi after a shallow tremor of the Monday night damaged thousands of buildings. Almost 1,000 were injured across the two provinces, with 16 missing in Qingyi. The quake was China's deadliest since 2014, when more than 600 people were killed in southwestern Yunnan province. Families sheltering in makeshift tents built from wooden poles and trampolines outside the Mejek mosque near the epicenter in Gansu's country, with outdoor stoves and blankets salvaged from homes, their only source of warmth. EU Parliament member states and EU Parliament have agreed to significantly stricter asylum procedures in the major reform of the European asylum system. The painstaking negotiated compromise announced on Wednesday provides for numerous additions and tightening of existing rules to reduce irregular migration to the European Union. Describing the deal as a breakthrough, European Commission Vice President Margareta Schines said on her X handle that it's been a long road to get here, but we made it. Europe is finally delivering on migration, while the European People's Party, which includes the conservative political groups in the European Parliament, hailed the agreement as a historic deal. Left-leaning EU lawmakers were quick to criticize it under the new system. The distribution of people seeking protection among the bloc's 27 member states is recognized under a new set of rules dubbed a solidarity mechanism. Over now to business, the total domestic debt stock may have risen by 133.95% to 51.96 trillion naira as of the end of 2023. This is based on new revelations by the Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, while speaking to CNBC Africa on the sidelines of the discussion of the establishment of the African Debt Managers Initiative Network, spearheaded by the African Development Institute of African Development Bank in Abuja. She disclosed that the federal government had raised 7.04 trillion naira as total new domestic borrowing in 2026. The Debt Management Office has said Nigeria's total public debt increased 9.71 trillion naira at the end of the third quarter of 2023. The figure represents a marginal increase of 0.61% compared to 87.38 trillion naira recorded at the end of June 2023. The DMO, is a statement posted on its official X handle on Thursday, said domestic debt increased by 1.8 trillion naira, while external debt reduced from $43.16 billion as of June 30, 2023 to $41.59 billion at the end of the third quarter, the statement read. The total public debt as at September 30, 2023 was the amount that represents the domestic external debt of the federal government of Nigeria. The 6 state governments and the Federal Capital Territory, 87.91 trillion naira of $114.35 billion at 87.91 trillion naira. The total public debt stock represents a marginal increase of 0.61% when compared to the June 30, 2023 figure of 87.38 trillion. This trend is explained by the increase in external debt from USD $43.16 billion as of June 30, 2023 to $41.59 billion as of September 30, 2023, a relatively moderate increase of 1.80 trillion naira in the domestic debt. Delta State Government, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and UTM Offshore Limited has signed a shareholders agreement for the development of the first floating liquefied natural gas in Nigeria. This was contained in a statement issued by the Delta State Ministry of Information. According to the statement, the Secretary to the State Government, Kingsley Emu, and Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Minister of Justice, Omamozo Erebe, signed for the Delta State Government, while the Group Chief Executive Officer, Mele Kyari, and Group Managing Director, Julius Rome, signed for the NNPCL and UTM Offshore, respectively. With the agreement, Delta State Government is to own an 8% share of the project, NNPC Limited 20%, and UTM Offshore 72%. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says only appropriate pricing for gas in Nigeria would create the required market for the commodity in the country. NNPCL's Group Chief Executive Mele Kyari disclosed this at an event in Abuja, where the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority issued a domestic gas aggregate license to the Gas Aggregation Company of Nigeria. Kyari stated that they would deliver gas into the domestic market so that they can create that spark that Nigeria needs to bring revolution that everybody is waiting for. Due to the recognition of the fact that Nigeria is a gas country with associated oil that have done very little about the gas. The Federal Government Territory International Revenue Service has disclosed that it generated about 203 billion naira in September 2023, representing a 63% increase from 124 billion naira it generated in 2022. Acting Chairman of the FCT IRS, Haruna Abdullahi, disclosed at a news conference in Abuja on Wednesday, where he also revealed that the service hoped to generate about 250 billion naira in 2024. Abdullahi said the revenue tax collection of the FCT had grown from barely 46 billion naira in 2017 to 124 billion naira in 2022, representing an over 270% increase, adding that the service was optimistic that it could generate 250 billion naira with the support of staff of the FCTA, the National Assembly, and other key stakeholders. And that's it on AM News, and it came to you live on Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. See you again.